An unbeaten 138-run stand between Smriti Mandhana and Poonam Raut following Jhulan Goswami's 4 for 42 and 3 for 37 by Rajeshwari Gaikwad means that India draw level in the 5 ODI series against South Africa. We'll dive down into the post-match show on the Outside View Live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia. But before that, let's take a look at the SXR 160.
You're late.
Don't just live life, maxify it.
A 9-wicket win for India in the second ODI. Mamatha and Boria result on expected lines. Let's kind of dive right into it on the Outside View Live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia. Your thoughts first, Mamatha, on this 9-wicket victory?
I think expected lines, slightly more than expected. Like we were thinking maybe 1 or 2, but we finished with a 9-wicket victory. Mandhana 70-80. I think the plus here is about Poonam coming into form. I think that's a huge plus in this process. It's probably a matter of time before Jimmy also gets into form. So overall, everything is looking good. And I think here on in, it's a 3-match series. I think South Africa too will be looking to bounce back, because I thought they played a few loose shots up front. So if they tighten their game, I think the third game should be a good match.
Boria, generally you probably wouldn't like getting wrong predictions, but today might not be that day. I believe 4 or 5 wicket win you had predicted in our mid-match show, but 9 wickets, colossal.
It's great. It's great. Having said that, if you really sort of ask me, are you 100%? I would have actually wanted some of our other batters to also bat, because you know what? This 9-wicket thing looks great. Obviously, it's sort of terrific win. 2 people batted, but the middle order still remains untested in a way. I mean, they've not spent time in the middle. So if there are 2 quick wickets again day after, you are in a bit of a... That is why I wanted... I mean, I was giving you my wish list rather than a prediction, that 4 wickets, so 6 wickets means Mithali will get in, Harman will get a knock. So basically, I was making it ideal for India, the garnish. But a terrific win. And we have seen that with the men's team in the World Cup, that on a day when you lose the top 3 and all of a sudden, because the middle order isn't exposed, there's an issue. I stick to my series prediction, India, 3-2 India. South Africa will come back, but 3-2 India. I stick to that, what I said. Today was great. You know what I liked? 6, I thought out of what? 28 balls, 0 out of 15 balls, Poonam didn't throw it away. She kept at it. That is what is important for me. Clive Lloyd keeps telling you one thing. You want to be a great batter? Be ugly. Unless you are prepared to be ugly, you will never be a great batter. And that's what was good to see. Smriti Mandhana will never look ugly. That is known, because she's got that elegance and class and whatever you want to call it, and 6 and 6. But Poonam, 0 of 15, 1 of 16, 5 of 28, and then 60 plus will be a tremendous boost for her. That is what I am very, very happy about.
Yeah, unbeaten 62 of 89 balls. Interesting and wonderful that you brought Poonam Raut straight away, because my follow-up question to you is going to be that her 69-run strike rate run chase kind of worked in today's game, where the score, the target for India wasn't a big one. But do you kind of say that Poonam batted well on the basis of this, or you would want her to change her approach or stuff like that?
If you remember, I had made this point in your pre-show, that it at times that numbers are an ass. Why? And this is exactly what I told you. Now, if Mamatha is chasing 150, do you want her to go at 150 strike rate? Why should she? Is she mad or what? She will go at a pace that she's comfortable with. She's won you the game with plenty of overs to spare, 9 wickets, thumping win. Why are you bothered? It was a top innings. At the same time, if they were chasing 230 rather than 158, do you want this strike rate? No. So you have to understand context to be able to make sense of an innings. So to fault Poonam Raut 10 days later, saying, oh, you know what, you scored 60 of 90 balls. You check what she's up against. That is how blanket numbers will never explain a full story.
Yeah, fair point. Claire, as someone who's on the opposite side, putting yourself in the South African dugout, very valid point from Boria. But where do you stand? Do you say that it was a knock that a good knock or a bad knock? Where will you stand on this Poonam Raut inning?
Oh no, definitely. From Poonam Rao's side, I think it was a fantastic innings. I mean, I can't disagree with Boria said, because you go out to the middle and you've got to go, well, what is the environment structure innings? You can't kind of go, oh well, I want to go off and score, have 100 strike rate, and then you end up going out for 2, because what does that achieve? It's achieved absolutely nothing. And you take this innings, and in maybe 3 games time, she has to go out and score or chase 250, and then suddenly she has a slow start, but then she has the ability to kick off. But if she didn't have this innings, she probably might not have found her feet and not got the confidence to be able to then pick it up at the latter part of the strike rate. The one thing you've got to remember when you're batting, if you're in, you always have an opportunity to increase your strike rate. You can't increase your strike rate when you're sitting in the dugout. That doesn't help anyone. That doesn't help your team at all. So I never mind batsmen getting off to a slow start. Then when you don't then ignore the opportunity to put the foot on the accelerator. So sometimes that's where you could get critical, to think people take it too long or too deep before they sort of really want to kick off. But if you're not out there, you can't go and score the run. So I thought it was a brilliant knock for her. You almost got the feeling that she had said to herself, I'm going to stick it out. I'm going to face the deliveries. I'm going to build my confidence, just feel bad on ball. And then you saw at the latter part of the innings how she was able to accelerate. I thought it was a phenomenal innings. I really didn't. I wouldn't criticize it at all from a strike rate perspective, because at the end of the day, India crossed the line. I would have been happy if they crossed the line in 40 overs, and then I would have said, okay, well, South Africa tried. They did 1 or 2 things well. The fact that they crossed the line in 28.3 overs, 28.4 overs, I think it's full kudos to India, and I think South Africa really missed a trick or 2.
Yeah, fair. We started with Poonam Raut, 62 of 89, but what about the player at the other end? Mamatha, Smriti Mandhana, 80 not out. She looked in good touch even the first ODI before kind of losing her wicket. Today was a day to extend that good touch, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Smriti Mandhana is a given. There's very rarely, like Boria said, she will play ugly. She is a class player. The one thing I like about her is her onside play, how she kind of uses the crease to access the onside. That is the plus point about her. All of them try and bowl her in the fourth stump, off-stump channel, but she's so smart to cover the line, move across the crease, and then access. That is her strength, and she played beautifully. It was a given with Smriti. It was a given. They will stutter with the run out, but past that run out, I think she was fluent. I foresee better innings. This is still, I feel, not her best, because against Kaka, she was not as fluid. There were times when she was poking around. So I foresee even better innings in the series to follow from Smriti's bat. So this was probably a warm-up for her.
80 of just 64 balls, 10 fours and 3 sixes. Boria, at what point did you feel कि आज ये लंबा खेलेगी? Because we saw her get off the mark with a couple of sixes off Shabnim Ismail, not any other bowler. So what your thoughts on Mandhana's knock today?
When the run out didn't happen, she had given it away. Because I've always, if there is one issue with her, I find her single judgment slightly problematic. And this is not the first time. India was lucky, she was lucky, and all of us were lucky. I mean, I was like, because the moment she started running, and you knew this is a wrong call, you knew she will be short. So when that didn't happen, I was like, now it's okay. Because to beat her, she was looking superb. She was controlling the innings. Then there was that misfield 4. She was again into groove. That little period was gone. That single had happened. The luck had come in. And then there was no competition. But that one misjudgment of that one single was the most problematic period in that innings.
But Claire, I know you make your own notes, like many have their red books and whatnot. In your book, did you have a blemish against Smriti Mandhana's knock? We'll come to the South African points, but how do you read Mandhana's knock today?
I thought she played beautifully. I must be honest. You can't be too critical. Very often, are you not going to give any chances away? I mean, that just comes with batting. It also comes with attacking batting and stroke play, you're going to give those chances away. Yes, that single that she took, very, very dicey, and I haven't seen enough of her back, but it's a really interesting point, and that's been raised about her single judgments, and that might be something. I know it's something very small, but it's something that you might need to just pay a little bit more attention to, because especially early on in your innings, you want to be rotating the strike with those singles. And it's almost your own weapon that you can put the pressure back onto the fielding side, but you don't want to be creating opportunities for them. So she might just need to look at that aspect of her game and tighten it up. I thought she's magnificent off the back foot. I mean, and that's where I want to criticize. In all fairness, this Shubnam Ismail. We know Shubs is quick. We know she can get the ball to pop up at you, and it hurries a player and that sort of thing. But I just thought the lengths that they tried to bowl to Sritri really helped her construct her innings. The fact that Ismail was trying to bounce her so quickly early on in her innings, as soon as she got into, you could see her feet were moving so well. I mean, she got onto that offside so quickly, made that space for her, and it was almost just like easy picking. So I thought South Africa gave her too many short deliveries too early on. And once she'd hit those 2 sixes in the first over, they should have gone, whoa, guys, let's stop. We need to replan. We need to re-strategize. I thought they should have pushed to a 5th stump line. So I agree. She uses her crease beautifully to play to her strength on the leg side. But I think we should have shifted our line firstly to get a little bit further outside off stump, and then to pitch the ball up fuller. So we were kind of putting it on full stump and then bowling it short. So then it was really easy for her to rock back onto her back foot and play onto the leg side. Pitching it up slightly more, little bit wider, then you're going to get her fishing outside that off stump. Yes, of course, you might have hit some fantastic sort of drives through extra cover, but at least you're starting to make her think a little bit, and maybe you bring the slip or the keeper into play. But I thoroughly enjoyed that innings. I thought it was an absolute masterclass. And the way she utilizes her crease, she uses her feet, and she is so quick on the ball. She doesn't give you half a chance.
Yes, Boria.
What Claire just said, just to echo before you go to Mamatha. See, that is the precise reason she should be a little bit careful about, because she's our match winner. She plays 25 overs, means India 90% of the time will not lose that game. So, two people keep telling me this, Sunil Gavaskar and Sachin Tendulkar, that you play a reverse sweep and there's a short third, you'll get 1. Unless you sort of make it 5. Why do you want to play that shot? You want to play a scoop. What is the percentage? If the percentage is 1 run and on the other side is me getting out, you are my primary match winner. Will you play that shot and take that risk? The answer is no. Because Smriti Mandhana being there means game done. Means 80 not out, 64 balls. Means the run rate goes up, strike rate, everything goes up, right? So why will I give that chance? So that's what she's one of the most, how do I put it? She's once in a generation player. Once in a generation player. So let's appreciate and enjoy every moment that we can see her out there on the park.
Yeah, elegant of the front foot, strong of the back foot, stylish overall. That was Smriti Mandhana today in the second ODI in her knock of 80 not out. Much like SXR 160, that's the union of style, comfort, and extraordinary performance. But let's come back to South Africa. Claire, the route through which South Africa could have kind of aimed to come back or tried to come back to the game was through the opening bowling spell of Shabnim Ismail and Marizan Kaap. Ismail, once that threat was nullified, I think South Africa were left looking out for options, weren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't want to sound too negative and talk the entire show on what I would do and what I think they did badly. But for me in this, and I mentioned in our mid-show chat, like for me, it's about process when you're in a situation like that. So we definitely didn't have enough runs on the board, but you've got to see like how can we take positives out of it? What kind of process goals can we set for ourselves to be able to say, oh, well, at least we did A, B, C, D, E right. Yes, at the end of the day, we're going to lose because we didn't have enough runs on the board. But let's not use the game as a total write-off and not get anything out of it. Kapi was absolutely phenomenal. I thought she bowled beautifully. She summed up the conditions slightly better. Again, I thought she was a little bit fuller. She was concentrating outside the off stump, and I think you saw that in her figures. Shubnam, we know she likes to bowl the ball slightly shorter and back of the length. I think she got it too much short and not back of the length. And again, against Smriti Mandhana, you cannot do that because she's just going to utilize her crease and play to her strength, which she did. So over one, yes, we're going to try bounce her out. At the end of over one, we've conceded 13 runs, and she's hitting the ball like exactly out of the center of the bat. So you have to say to yourself, no, stop. That strategy is not going to work. How can we go back and revisit it? And I think that's what they didn't do. And we've already mentioned what I think they should have done in terms of the line and length to the opening partnership. So I definitely think that's what they should have done with the opening bowlers. I would have then liked Sunellis to sort of bowl cut through a little bit more. So they weren't getting any success, but Kapil only bowled sort of 6 overs. Now, unless he's carrying a little niggle or something like that, at least try and get her back on just to sort of get through 10 overs to feel, it's not a tour where they're playing sort of back-to-back games for ODI reasons or that sort of thing. So I don't see why she shouldn't have bowled her full 10. I was also really happy with Ayabonga Kaka. She didn't get a look in early on in the Pakistani tour, and now she's come in and she's had an early look in against India. And I think she's bowled really well in the first ODI, and very, very well in the second ODI. And again, I would have liked to see her, bowl out her remaining 3 overs, because then at least you've got another 7 overs where you're restricting the economy rate and you're putting the pressure back on the Indian players.
Yeah, fair call that in. It wasn't the day for spin for South Africa as well, because over 8 and over in the 7 overs that Nonkululeko Umhlaba and Sunellis bowled together. So perhaps it's a day to forget for some of the South African bowlers, or some of the spells maybe probably. But let's move away from the game and go to a segment we call Vespa Know Your Player. We have Mamatha Maben with us. We are going to celebrate some of the former players through the India versus South Africa series. Mamatha, you played for India, all right, but you also led the country during your career. So what memories do you have of leading India in the ODIs? Because it was back in December 2003?
Yeah, in the short stint that I led India for a couple of years, I think the first series against New Zealand, the home series, that was the most memorable, because they were the reigning champions. They just won the 2000 World Cup. And when the selectors announced the squad, one of the selectors walked up to me and said, "See, we know they're the world champions, but we need to put up a good fight." And I just nodded my head. And when we had a first meeting, I remember asking the players, like, what do you think will be the outcome of the series? And they said New Zealand would win 5-0. I said, can't we even pull off 1 victory? Somebody said 1. I think finally Neetu finished it off saying, we may win 2, but New Zealand's going to win the series 3-2. That is when I said we're going to win the series 5-0. That's how the discussion began. Of course, Jaya played brilliantly, Anju Jain, Anjum Chopra. Mithali was the linchpin. She would come and finish off games beautifully. And eventually, when we went to Chennai for the 5th ODI, we were leading 4-0. So that was one of, I think, on the captaincy front, that was a very memorable tour, like having to beat the current champions, World Cup champions. So that's a very fond memory in my mind.
But having handled the captaincy, were you someone who wanted to make your own strategies and have the players rally around you, or you were happy to let players be and just?
No, I think strategy. I was the sole one. I'll tell you one more instance. The first game, when I asked the team, what do you think we would like to do? We played that in Bombay, and they said we want to chase. And the selectors had come to me and said, no, you have to bat first. So when I asked the team, they said we'll chase. I said, okay, we'll go ahead with chasing. And we happened to win that game chasing. From there it went on. So captaincy wise, I think Mithali was my deputy then, but she was pretty raw then. But captaincy wise, I think I handled everything along with the coach. And the others played crucial roles. I think Jaya came into her own. Anjum was around, Anju Jain and Mithali also, and the bowlers, Neetu David. Every time I wanted a wicket, I would throw the ball to Nusheen, and I was still, I don't know what you're doing, I want a wicket, Nusheen. And she would promptly deliver. It was a very memorable series because nobody gave us a chance. And then to turn it around from there, and from there the momentum actually began. We beat West Indies 5-0, then we blanked out Sri Lanka 5-0 in Sri Lanka, and eventually we lost to Australia 4-3. But before we headed to the World Cup, but I think that New Zealand series, I think, is very, very favorite of mine where captaincy is concerned.
Yeah, lovely that. But today, the entire day, we've been using the Test cricket news as the thread. Because remember, India are slated to play Test in June in England, and you also have played a Test, and you are a Test match half centurion as well against South Africa in Pal. What are your memories of that game, and how dear was the red ball cricket in your career?
Yeah. That game, Anjum was leading, and we had just lost the ODI series to South Africa 2-1, and we headed into a one-off Test match. It was very memorable in the sense that the top 7 batsmen got 50s. That was one Test match which stood out, where continuously top 7 batsmen got 50s, and we ended up winning them game. In women's cricket, it's not as easy because you need to get the opposition out twice with only 4 days to go. So it was very, very nice. Anjum led beautifully, and I think to have bounced back after having lost the ODI series to win an away series, a historic away series, that also is very close to my heart. And the good thing about that was I think number 1 to number 7, all of us got 50s. So that was a very, very very heartening.
Stories are something that every one of us lives for. We kind of go on and on listening to stories of cricket stories back in those times. But let's come back to the India-South Africa series. 2 matches done. Series leveled 1-1, and it's as rightly said, it's a 3-match series from here on. Claire, coming to you, is spin department, will that be the thing that South Africa loses sleep over heading into the third ODI?
No, I don't think so. I think South Africa just sort of need to kind of like reposition their thought process around how they want to approach matches. And I'm almost glad that this happened because, we've come out off a very, very successful Pakistani tour. Their tails would be up. They were playing some good crickets. And now they come to India. India were very rusty in the first ODI, and South Africa got a really good win. But I don't think it was necessarily that South Africa played fantastic cricket in the first ODI. I think it was kind of India's rustiness that really helped South Africa get an exceptional win. And I think South Africa must see this as a bit of a wake-up call, and make sure that they're not letting contentness filter into their game, or it was a case of, okay, well, we only got just over 150, so it's kind of game done and dusted. There needs to be this culture of keep fighting, keep going. Let's see what we can get right in certain aspects of our game, and make sure we follow through with that, because that's also how the girls learn, and that's vitally important. So I think Malaba must just go back and go, cool, it was a bad day at the office. I think she struggled to find rhythm. And it's always difficult as a spinner when you're coming in and there's not a decent amount of runs on the board. And I don't even want to say there doesn't have to be a huge amount of runs. So, even if South Africa had managed to get to 200, which I think we all would agree was probably a below par score, but it was a lot better than what they got to at that 155 mark. So that wasn't even a below par. That wasn't even a on the scoreboard kind of target. So then it puts a huge amount of pressure on Malaba, and I think you kind of saw that pressure coming through. I was glad to see Sine at least bowled herself through, and I think she ended up bowling 4 overs, 5 overs. It would have been an easy out for her not to bowl herself. And for me, there was a slight positive. Yes, I know she went to economy rate was 7 runs and over. So, but I'm glad to see she still said, give me the ball. I'm still going to go bowl. I'm the captain. I'm going to put myself on to bowl, because at least that also shows that she's more than prepared to get into the trenches and do some hard work. So I was happy from from that perspective. I almost want them to sort of go. We don't need to go and make sort of whole like massive changes and stuff into our team going into the third ODI. I think they need to give the girls sort of another run and see what they can do. The other aspect that I think they just need to take a little bit of a look at is their fielding. I think in the first ODI, their fielding was really good. But in the second ODI, again, you see you've got the pressure. You haven't got enough runs on the board. And I thought their fielding was not great at all. It was almost like we were taking a couple of steps back to the Pakistani tour, which I know you saw quite a bit of, and their fielding at times was absolutely terrible. So yeah, the spin, I don't think they need to lose sleep over it. I just think they need to sort of calm down, just maybe, restruct some better plans. And they do need to take a look at the fielding and help their bowlers from that perspective.
Well, it seems like it to a low score and the batters overhauling the score. You think there are any areas to work for India heading into that third ODI?
Plenty. I mean, again, your middle order has not got a look in. Jhulan, Mansi and Rajeshwari were all very good. Poonam hasn't yet been the Poonam we know. Deepti hasn't yet picked up many. So it's not as if you can't improve. You can. You absolutely can. Jemmy needs to strike form and score some runs and spend some time in the middle. Again, as I said, if need be, look ugly. Bats, sort of get yourself in, because she's an important part of this team. So obviously you just won one. So it's not as if you won 3-0 or, leading 3-1. Having said that, this will give them enormous amount of confidence. Enormous confidence. And once in India you start losing, it is very difficult for a visiting side to come back. Because mentally, you all of a sudden, you're like, "Arey, spin, what do we do?" It's a very strange country, India. It's tremendous for cricket. But if as a visiting team you lose two, trust me, it's one of the most difficult things to come back and win cricket matches. So the next game might well decide which way this series is going. India gets it. India might just get on a roll. So that's what South Africa will have to guard against.
The 2 days ahead of the third ODI, you think W.V. Raman would be spending more time in that spinner's net than seamer's net, Boria?
I would say equally, because you're both, your faster bowlers were good. Having said that, you would say that, okay, that was 20 for 2. If I could get one more there rather than the second spells, so why not? And at the same time, Poonam and Deepti for sure. But it will be a relaxed W.V. Raman, whichever net he is in. It will not be W.V. Raman of 2 days back. It will be a much relaxed. So if if you read his book, Winning Sixer, he now knows the formula. So he will enjoy his drink tonight. He will have a much better sort of outing with the girls tomorrow.
It's 9th of March from 11. The Indian domestic season starts. Mamatha, you are with the Karnataka side. So I'm going to get your coaching hats on. One leg in the South African dugout, one in the Indian dugout. What do you think team should do ahead of the third ODI?
Like Boria said, there are still loopholes to tie. Our spinning department is still not what it used to be. I don't know if it is the pitch conditions or just the rustiness. But there definitely is an area where we need to work on. But I feel that India should not let their guard down at this stage, because Absolutely. South Africa will be looking to bounce back. Because 100%. It's not like India totally outplayed South Africa. South Africa played some loose shots, like Mignon Dupree, even Boulevard. Those were all balls that could have been negotiated better. And I feel if they were a little more patient enough to tell themselves that let's play till the 40th over and then see how it goes after losing those 2 wickets, they would have probably reached 180, 200, like Claire said. So I feel they will also be looking to bounce back, because Laura is not one given to make too many mistakes. So she would have, rectified from this thing. So we have to be on a guard. I just foresee a good game. But like Boria said, if India ends up winning this game, it could go all the way 4-1. So this is very, very crucial. And if at all South Africa have a reason for concern, I feel it is their spin bowling department. Although they did well in the first game, the top three seamers look good. It's after that they're looking loose. If they can tighten up that phase, I think they're in for a very good game going forward.
Right, then last two bits before we close. Our yay or nay segment. What are your picks, Claire, for the yay moment of the ODI and the nay moment of the ODI?
It's a tough one. I'm gonna have to go. My yay moment would just generally be Smriti Mandhana's entire innings. I think she batted really, really beautifully. I'm gonna have to put a second one if I'm allowed to. And then I really did also enjoy Julan's bowling. I thought her bowling today was phenomenal. 4 wickets, like the work, her work rate, the effort. We have to remember she's an older female. She's got 183 ODIs under her belt. But yet she produces day in and day out, and she's just an absolute professional. So those are my 1 and 2 positions. And my nay moment would probably be just in general the South African fielding. I don't think we were as sharp as we could have, and I know things don't go well. Like bowling, you don't have enough runs on the board. It's tough to bowl. Fair enough. But the one thing you can get right is you can control what you're doing in the field. You can get your angles right. You can take your catches and make sure you get the run outs when they present themselves. And that's where I just think if South Africa had at least done that well, then it could have been one of those little process goals ticks.
Boria, your yay or nay moments, have they been snatched by Claire by any chance?
Sorry.
No, that she's welcome to. See, we in India love our guests, and today she's anyway morose, so we'll give it to her. And
Thanks, Boria.
That's fine. But for me, both are Julan. I'll start with the nay, and that was the no ball. Otherwise, it would have been a 5-1. Because she called me yesterday to wish, and I told her in Bangla. She said, "Tomar birthday gift ta due roilo," as in your birthday gift is due. And I said the gift is tomorrow when you get some big wickets. And she got that. So the 5-4 would have been phenomenal. Having said that, within an over, she got the next one bowled and then another one. So that's my yay. When people very dear to you do so well and win your country a cricket match, can't be better.
Wow, what a birthday that was. Mamatha, your picks for the yay or nay moment of the second ODI?
I think my yay moment is Julan, because it was Julan who set it up. Had she not broken through, this could have been a different ball game. My nay moment from an Indian perspective, and I have a personal angle here. I think Jemmy playing onto the wicket. I would have, expected her to at least get a few runs under her belt. So that would be my nay moment from an Indian perspective. But the A moment from all perspectives, I think, is Julan, because she was the one who set the tone for the game, and that's what counts, I feel.
Right, before we close this show, let's take final thoughts from each of you regarding your Aprilia player of the match. Boria, you first. Your player of the match?
Julan, because she set it up. Even if Smriti had not gotten the 80, we would have still won. So the real sort of turnaround happened because of Julan.
Mamatha?
Same here. Same.
And the same from me. There's no doubt about it.
3-0. Julan Goswami is the Aprilia performer of the match. Right then, thank you people for joining us on the Outside View Live, powered by Vespa and Aprilia. We'll catch you up before the third ODI on Friday. And also, do not forget to download the latest issue of the Women's Cricket Zone magazine. You can head to womenscrickzone.com and download your copy. Thank you, Mamatha. Thank you, Claire. Thank you, Boria. See you
so
on Friday.
Cool. Bye, guys.
You're late.
Don't just live life,
guys.
maxify it.